Hi, everybody. I just have a quick, some cultural news for you and mostly commentary, but we'll see what happens. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Black Spring with Autumn. And it is after hours, and it is a holiday weekend, but I just decided I would come in just for a second because I have, of course, I'm sure you guys have seen the liner by now, or you've seen something that's quite controversial in terms of imagery, at least. So we can at least, I think we could probably agree on that. But before I get going here, I want to, of course, give a word thanks to our patrons and subscribers, as well as viewers like yourself. But for one, I also have one other liner for you. And I don't know, maybe you haven't heard of this, but we're going to take that from what I'm considering a newer source that, seems to have more of a global perspective from there. So I will be right back right after this. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Marcy T., Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right, and thank you so much for coming in. And I entitled this stream Normalcy Bias and More. And I'll kind of tell you, what kind of led me to that. And I don't know, maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't, but it's just kind of a phrase that I'm going to be using in this case. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're not sure if you're tuning in or not, I appreciate you for considering it. And I just want to get started right away. So what I want to do is kind of explain the imagery that I gave you for this stream. And it is a picture of Lil Nas X, and it's also a picture of a man that's actually doing some work on Skid Row. So I kind of want to do a little bit of, compare contrast there, and kind of tell you like why I decided to pair those two things. But I'm also going to add a third element to this. And hello, Nick Smith. Thank you so much for coming in. Hope you're doing well. And so I want to get on to the first part of this. So I think we can just agree. So just from where we are, I think we can agree that we've seen quite a bit of things that are, some people say, we're in upside down times, or, up is down, down is up, however you want to spin that. But you have seen a lot of entertainers that represent, or, they are showing somewhat of the opposite of what we're used to, or anything that's standard or traditional. You're getting the opposite of that. Like there's really no, like, any kind of institution or value has been pretty much just kind of stripped down to whatever. Everything has turned into somewhat of a spectrum, if you will. And which, how do you hold on to that? How do you have a baseline when everything is, what I like to use the word, when everything is perverted to the point of confusion? And I think when we're confused, I think that there's also an opening for, as a wider opening for deception. And I don't want to, and whether you're spiritual, whether you're religious or whatnot, I do think you can see that we are witnessing things that are, dare I say, normal, or they don't conform to any standard of, they don't really conform to any tradition, or they go against nature, or they go against natural order. So, but I just wonder, what do you guys think that actually means? And I might even actually open this up just a little bit, just to hear from you guys. At some point, I'm probably going to do an actual panel that brings men on, or people that are comfortable being identified in these times as actual men, and see what they think about these kinds of imagery, and and their impact on people, and or people, or kids, should I say. And then you'll have some people say, I'm not sure whether they're playing devil's advocate or not. They may say, well, oh, he's not your role model, but maybe he's not an adult role model, but he's definitely an influential figure for someone out there that might be more impressionable than an adult. I think that's a fair assertion also. So Nick Smith, thank you so much for coming in. It looks like I have somebody over on Twitch as well. So thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. And so once again, you find that it just seems that, and I don't do a whole lot of cultural things on this channel, but in this case, I'm just thinking that this Nas X character, I'm not a fan of his music. I'm not. I don't care whether it appeared to be less innocent, whenever he started out or whatever, but I'm not. So, but nothing really surprises me. So I think he's an entertainer, and I do think that his role, he's an agent, whether he will admit it or not. He's never going to say, he's never going to tell you, what he's doing to stay in the limelight. But look at it. Look at his representation, and who does he represent? What does he represent? And that's where I'd like to, at some point, if you guys would like to chime in, you can do so on this stream. If you want to chime in on what you think, what does this represent to you? Or what do you think what could it be interpreted as? But what I also want to say is that there's also another figure that came into the scene of this, that entered this situation and gave some legitimacy to what he's done. And I find it to be, not only toxic, but just another part of, it's a very twisted, and it's a very, a very undermining thing that's happening there. And it seems that people in this country that are identified or under the alias of Black, they're being used for these kinds of destructive and destabilizing things all of the time. And it's a constant work. And it's almost like, well, if we can sell this by Black people or by a Black entertainer, then we can get the whole world to embrace this. But, and of course, I don't refer to myself as a conspiracy theorist, but I do think that we have enough evidence to say that there's another agenda going on here, where you have some of the most influential people in the world being used as a tool for destruction or as a prototype for destruction in a situation in which, I think our society and, of course, some groups of people are in a decline. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm on about there. And yeah, so but then I think many people now, they're so, their minds are so, dare I say, for lack of a better word, they're so malleable that they think that they deny that there's any level of responsibility in imagery, endorsements, or as entertainers. You can just do whatever you want and call it art. But can you still look at something like this and still refer to it as art? I consider myself an artist, and I think I have that scope of, I can see things in many ways. But does that mean it's appropriate? Just because I can see something, I might be able to see something six ways or 7 ways from Sunday, but doesn't mean that it's, the best thing for me to, it doesn't mean I should put that forward. And it depends on where am I putting it? Where am I putting it? So yeah, so that's kind of like what I'm on about there. And then I will tell you, I'm going to connect the ultimate influencer. This man still has a great influence over this country, the world, and especially the Black community. I'm going to tell you who gave the legitimacy to this, and nothing that he does surprises me. And I'm not saying that you should be surprised. I'm just saying nothing that he does surprises me. So when we see those images, you probably, I don't know, you guys might take a stab at it and say, who is this person that's given legitimacy to this imagery? So, what you can see, it's like, to me, it's a lot of mockery going on there. He's wearing this crown of roses. It's this kind of Aphrodite, corporeal presence that he's mocking. It's like, it's a mockery on so many levels. And it is, the word that they like to use, dare I say they, and when I say that, I'm saying maybe leftists or progressives or those who, that seem to kind of fly by the seat of whatever. They would just say, well, it's just art is what he's doing. He's just freeing himself, or he's just expressing himself as if, he has no idea, he has no idea what his reach is, or who he could be influencing. So I will show you that in just a second. But hello, White Horse Theology, aka Killer Whale, Killer Whale Channels. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And so, Jermaine G, how are you? Thank you for coming in. So yeah, I'll show you the person that gave legitimacy to this. And then I'll also show you, what you'll be exposed to. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into that. So it looks like Lil Nas X gave an interview, and it's amazing the things that they will put on the cover of a magazine these days. Not to mention the things that they will create behind it. So let's go ahead and go over to it right now. Thank you guys so much for coming in on your holiday weekend and joining me for the normalcy bias and more. So there's going to be more. We'll go to something that's slightly more, something that's cultural, but political in just a second. But I just want to I'm going to let you see. I'm going to try to connect some dots for you on this. And then I will put the link out if you're interested in chiming in. And yeah, and we'll just go from there. So let's go ahead. And for one, thank you guys so much for coming in. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take you to Have You Seen This? I'm not sure if any of you guys, if you guys subscribe to People Magazine or if you've read the spread or not. But of course, you know, this Lil Nas X is getting all kinds of publicity. And of course, to me, he's also getting endorsements and he's also getting, you know, he's getting legitimacy. He's being given a lot of legitimacy from, you know, somebody that's very influential. And like I said, I think there's something much, you know, it's very gross, I think, what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and share that screen with you. And thank you guys so much for coming in. Okay. All right. So what we have here is another Have You Seen This? All right. So what you have here, this actually came from Lil Nas X's own Twitter account. And it looks like maybe this is coming to your, I'm not sure if you have an iPhone or if it's going to go to the other programs. Dare I say, you know, I mean, are you seeing this right now? I mean, I didn't put them all on, but I think there's probably at least another row, another 3 rows of the same kinds of images. Like, you know, is this what they call like a, you know, this is a distorted image. I mean, if you guys are looking in the mirror and seeing this of yourselves, then, you know, that's something else. Let me zoom in a little bit in case you're not getting the full, in case you're not getting the full scope of this. I hate to deprive you of all of this. But as you can see, you've got people that have male qualities of all, you know, background and styles. And you know, People Magazine, I don't know, maybe once upon a time I read People Magazine, but I don't know if I would read it so much now. I don't think I would. I mean, I don't know. This is the kind of thing that you go in the store and you see it and you kind of just want to turn the page. You just want to turn the cover, just turn it all the way over, not rearrange it, but just but just turn it all the way over. But yeah, so this is, I guess this is coming to your iPhone if it's not being loaded. In fact, I don't know if you have an update right now. You might be on cue to have that loaded in your next update. I have no idea. When you go to emojis, you know, this other term that they've put out, you know, they call it pregnant people or chest feeding. You see what I'm saying? All of this kind of a business. All right, and then for the grand finale here, you know, I mentioned one of the most influential people, whether however you feel about this personality, is giving legitimacy to this. And I'm going to show it to you right now. So apparently Barack Obama has given his blessing and his you know, a word of grace to Lil Nas. And basically he posted this on Twitter, congratulating Lil Nas. And I presume that the name of this album is Montero. I mean, you know, I don't want to go. I mean, I could take you guys back, you know, because what kind of twisted thing is this, you know? Because first of all, you had Lil Nas, you know, he was, you know, dancing and carrying on in another video. So I don't know, I don't think he's quite claiming like some type of immaculate conception, but it's definitely pretty sinister, the way that this is all kind of like turning out. And if you can imagine some kid that actually followed him at some point and they're seeing this they're seeing this play out, you know, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know, you know, how males actually feel about seeing these kinds of things, or, Maybe you have a son of your own. I mean, what are you telling your son about these kinds of things? Or are you one of those people that are flipping the magazine over when you go to the grocery store because you don't want to have to talk about it? You don't want to have to talk about it. Not saying that's what you do, but what I'll do is I'll just read a couple of comments. Thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Let's see, who do I have? Jermaine G. Anarchy Television. Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And DJ Vision Barnett says he is tuning in from work. Hi, DJ. It's nice to see you. And Jermaine G says, what is this world coming to? Well, I don't know. Ask them. They seem to be writing the script or, playing their role, playing their parts in there. Hi, Right Winged Angel. How are you? I appreciate you so much for coming in. So yes, and thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just, I tend to not go, totally raw on these kinds of things because, I usually kind of leave those things up to other people because they are doing them regularly. But I just think that Barack Obama is quite gross. And I think that he is more than, I can't believe people are still looking up to that guy. I just can't. I mean, I don't care what your background is. I don't care. I don't care whether you're 2 shades darker than me or you're 3 shades lighter than me. I don't care. You would have to think that there's something that just doesn't quite jive. Something that just, that a discord, there's a huge discord in there and it will not resolve. You just, even whether, like I said, whether you're spiritual or religious, you've got it, something, but he just seems to have, he just has diplomatic immunity, like even in the States and even amongst people that think they look like him or think they're more like him, there's just got to be something about by now that has struck a discord. Like, I don't know about him because it just seems like this was a part of his agenda all along, or just like massaging people into a place in which they are more accepting of these things, or, perverting people into a level in which, they can just be deceived and, just about anything. Why stop, by, with lighting up the White House in multiple colors? Let's just keep all the sickness going, or let's just make it even more. Let's see how far we can go. But, I'm just saying, but this is something that this actually came from Lil Nas's page. He showed it. He was thanking, Barack Obama. And of course, this Lil Nas character, it's like he wants a show. It's like he's loving this attention. He was just gushing over him receiving this gift from Barack Obama. And, it's the most decadent and the most destructive things. It seems that he and Michelle Obama, they tip their hats and they endorse and they legitimize all of this regularly. And nobody says a word. And I'm saying that specifically to the Black or people that, consider themselves Black. Nobody says anything against them. Nobody, no dissent. And I haven't heard it. I'm just saying, I can't speak for all people. Of course, I don't know all people. And I would assume that you don't know all people. But I have not heard anybody with the intestinal fortitude to say, hey, maybe we've been duped, or this is not quite right. They just keep going along with it. So I'm just going to read a couple comments here, because I've already burned like 24 minutes on this, and thank you for giving me that, but I'm going to move us on here in just a second. But I was just saying, are you guys surprised? Let me just put this link in here. I only have one more liner, and it's going to come from your favorite doctor. It's going to come from your favorite doctor. So I'm going to drop this link out there. And if you're interested, of course, I will give you 3 to 5 minutes, which I'm sure this is going to spur more than 3. This is going to inspire more than 3 to 5 minutes. But this is my question. How much of this craziness are we all supposed to participate in? I'm just asking. How much more of it are we supposed to participate in? Like, because, they might ding me for saying what I'm saying, but I don't actually care. It doesn't bother me. Go ahead and ding me. But I just wanted to show you guys, the amount of influence and the people that kind of that stay in the rinse, that they just kind of stay in the wash, rather. They just never go away. At a time like this, that's the only thing, Barack Obama, out of all the things in the world that he could be doing to influence, the world as a whole, he's congratulating and sending these kinds of sentiments over the internet for a Lil Nas X and his new album. So, reimagine everything, right? Reimagine everything. I mean, it's a fake Photoshop, okay? Photoshop. Anything's possible with Photoshop. If you didn't know, anything's possible with Photoshop. But he's definitely playing his role to a T. And I've also said this too, and I don't consider this a conspiracy because, of course, the UN is real and they have an agenda. But they also said a long time ago, and this kind of speaks to the people that talks about, what was that Old Town Road or whatever that song was. It was very basic, very elementary, very simple in the presentation. But they also have said their philosophy is that children are the agents of change. So, of course, that's where you start. And of course, what are they going after? They're going after their biggest agents of change. And they used this guy to massage them into, to kind of loosen them up or groom them, groom society for, what's to come or whatever direction they want, to go in. So I appreciate it. And like I said, that link is out there. I'm going to take a quick little break and I'm going to come back and we're going to switch gears a little bit to your favorite doctor. Wait, hang on a second. And I have a comment from Anarchy Television. How are you? He says, Photoshop, look into the program called Deepfake. Okay, I will do. And it's only because I've got some experience with Photoshop. Deepfake. All right, I will do it for sure. And Risen Abilities here. How are you? Thank you so much for coming in. Yeah, because honestly, it makes you question like a lot of things, like, what we're seeing. Is that real? Or, honestly, there's so much technology that, there's animation you can do, if you have the skills, you can make anything, you can be convincing, I think, with just about anything. But I will take a quick little break and I'll come back. And before I take us over to your favorite doctor, I'm going to take you over to another point in which I wanted you to see, because of course, California is in the throes of this recall election and there's some things that are happening. It looks like Skid Row's getting, some attention, but I'll show you. And the person involved in that is actually going to tell a little bit of his story. And I think Katie Hopkins from the UK, which Katie Hopkins spends quite a bit of time. She's a personality out of the UK, and she spends quite a bit of time in Southern California. But she actually gives, you can see this guy and what he's doing. And it's just, it's kind of like, it's amazing the people that are respected these days. They will respect what they see somebody like Lil Nas X doing, and he will be given praise and he will influence the world but somebody that's actually, turned their life around and maybe just making a difference somewhere else will get he'll never get that much attention, or no one will ever find out how far, he's come in his journey, but they'll, praise, Lil Nas X. So without further ado, I will be right back. All right, guys, and we're back. So I'm going to take you to our next segment, which kind of ties in a little bit with to me, what I consider, the crises in the state of California, whether it's homelessness, whether it's mismanagement of natural resources, or, mismanagement of funds, or just, I could go with a myriad of things of mismanagement there. But in this case, I'm going to attempt to share this with you. And it is Katie Hopkins on Skid Row. And I do think there's some parallels here in terms of, dare I use the word slavery, or, or agents, or, somebody that's serving. You're definitely serving somebody, but, what are you using it for? What are you using your service for? To serve something that's dark and destructive? Or are you, using your service for some other greater good? Or, what are you doing for yourself to nourish your own spirit? So I'm just going to take you right over. And before I do that, looks like I have a few people here that have come in. It's Derek C. Williams. How are you, Derek C. Williams? And let me just read some comments here. Positively Penny, how are you? Thank you for coming in. Derek C. Williams says, out in these wicked streets, in quick listen mode, late to the party. Yeah, listening to you on YouTube from a, quote, illegal party in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's interesting. An illegal party. All right. Well, that's interesting. For sure. And Zero the Infinite, it's been a lifetime. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming in. So let me share this with you. And it's Katie Hopkins. She's in Skid Row right now. And so to me, this is another example of people that have been, that have been under, either been institutionalized in some way, but I think he's using his institutionalization and the effects of it for something, much, much different. And so I won't tell you everything. I'll let him tell you himself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So let me see if I can pull this off for you.
Yeah. Tell me what you used to do. I was in prison.
How long were you in prison for?
42 years.
And now you're here helping clear up Skid Row?
I went in prison when I was 16. I got out when I was 58. And now I'm doing this.
And how is this going?
This is cool. It's just too much walking.
But it does look cleaner here, right? Skid Row looks cleaner, you think, than it did? I think.
Of course. Listen, you know what? They try to tell us to be polite and courteous with the homeless people. If they need something, try to help them out. And that's cool. That's being of service. That's what I planned on doing anyway. So another way of being of service.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing.
You're welcome.
And I really respect it as well. And I really think you're making a difference here.
Well, it looks like it.
It does. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, so as you can see here, that was Skid Row right now. So to me, for him, I'm thinking that, okay, I'm not sure if this is a part of Newsom or is it Garcetti is sending people out to are they cleaning things up or are they shuffling things around? I maybe even shuffling things around, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not an expert or anything when it comes to the homeless, but I think sometimes homeless people don't like to be disturbed to a certain extent. And when I say shuffling things around, sometimes actually people coming in and changing that environment will actually make them move. So sometimes, it will actually make them go some other place. They really don't want those areas disturbed. They would rather not be disturbed. So I'm not sure if if this is a stunt in which he's trying to clean up. In fact, I've seen a few images of Newsom under bridges, tossing trash and doing things himself. But I do know that it's very, because of there's an array of issues that are on the streets. At one point, there were at least 52 blocks of homelessness. And I'm pretty sure it's much greater than that right now. I'm not sure to what extent, but I know it's grown quite a bit. But this guy here, this is something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to draw a connection here. I'm saying that, you can have people in positions at the highest level. You can have somebody as influential as a Lil Nas X, and you can have a Barack Obama, and they use their influences for not so good things. And then you have a man like this who is through a work program. Now, I don't know he didn't tell his story. Of course, he didn't give the admin part of the deets of, what he did or any of that. But this guy basically went into prison, I guess, at 16, and basically 42 years. That's a long time. And so he's coming out and he's doing something like this, and he's talking about being a servant or, but I think, people that at the highest level don't serve anyone. And this guy can go out and after serving 40 something years, he can go out and do this on the streets to make what would to us make other people's life maybe a little bit more clean, or to make their the place that they've inhabited a little bit more functional. But he'll never get any recognition for what he's doing, or they're not going to find out whether he's less, I don't know, I'm not saying he was violent, he's less violent, or he's less likely to commit crimes because he is doing this type of work program, or he's been actually rehabilitated because of his experience. He will never get any of that from progressives, but they use their power and their influence to do sinister things, and not for the greater good. It's never for the greater good what they're doing. But this guy will never, I don't know what happens to people like this, because that might be, like I said, maybe he's on a work program. Maybe that job's going to run out. I don't know. I would imagine you can never have too many people cleaning the streets of Skid Row or throughout LA, or even in the other tent cities or areas throughout the state. But they'll never do anything to find out, if other people are being served or how they are servicing other people. But they'll be slaves to the state for money. And, you know, the Lil Nas X's of the world, you know, he'll be a slave to the state, or he'll be a puppet of the state so that he can, you know, enrich himself and influence people, whether it makes them more destructive or not. Or maybe it sends them, maybe it makes somebody else self-destruct. It's just a really sick, twisted thing, and people will not wake up to it. They won't. I don't know what it would take. I don't. But I think this is it's more than a humbling thing. But I don't know what happens to people like this. You've probably been around them yourself. You had no idea what the person actually did and how they've actually changed in their lives and what they're doing to serve other people. But I don't know. But I know if he is not successful, then I do think that he has a greater chance of probably going back into one of those programs, no matter what he's done to serve anyone. But he will get no publicity, no case studies, no laws in his name, no photo shoots. He'll get nothing. You know, he'll get a Katie Hopkins from across the pond will give him more time than anybody here. So, yeah, so that's a little bit of my rant. That's, you know, it's kind of sad. But like I said, you know, this is, to me, you had top tier people, and then you have somebody like this on the bottom. I'm not saying that he's a victim of something specifically, or that he didn't deserve his time. I'm just saying that we have a lot of people that are in the quote Black community that are self-destructive, and they never give back. They can never give back. They can't. It's not in them to give back. They can't. They're not capable of that. They're capable of serving themselves. So, sorry I had to go there with you. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And for my final trick of the evening, dare I say, is I want to show you. There's a piece from Global Research, and I'm not sure if it's been released here in the States so much, but I'm going to share it with you. And it looks like Dr. Fauci has some plans, or at least, you know, there's indications or there's implications that he has plans for you. So thank you guys so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Let me read a couple comments here. And okay. I missed quite a few things in here, it looks like it. Jermaine G said, Hook and the alphabet community are hand in hand. And let's see, I'm going to jump around here just a little bit. Reasonability says this man is awesome. And Derek C. Williams says, being willfully ignorant is an art form in our world, sadly. And Anarchy Television says public servants will not know the needs of the homeless unless they were homeless themselves for more than a month. And Jermaine G says, Nas X the puppet and may he millions, shaking my head. Yes, and he's totally, you know, he totally mocks people. Like, I don't know I've been on his page, but I've just seen his interactions with other people, and he just totally mocks them and totally manipulates and just, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, if he's really playing a role, you know, or is he really that diabolical? Is he really, you know, just keep playing the role, you know, just keep the script, no matter what they say, you know, just keep it up. Zero Infinite says, it's good to see you. Oh, no problem. Thanks so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to do a quick little break, and then I will take you to the final liner, and you'll see what Dr. Fauci has, or at least we'll see what the report says. I'll be right back. This show is brought to you in part by our sponsors. Whether you're interested in health, culture, politics, scripture, automobiles, or music, please check out Derek C. Williams, Killer Whale Channels, The Definition of Anarchy, Marcy T., Joseph Francis Burton, Paralysis by Analysis, Chrysler Imperial H, Little Miss Goth, AZ Infidel, Cold War Jesus, Anthony Scioli, and Let the Truth Be Told. We'll be right back right after this. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the final liner of the show today. And I don't know, I'm going to try to be as covert with this one as I can because I have not gone through the entire thing, but there may be some terms in there that I have to spin on my feet. So I'm going to zoom in for you guys so you can get the whole gist here. All right. So according to this comes out of global research. This is Fauci considering a booster jab every 5 months for all Americans. The spike assault never ends. Okay. According to this, when Dr. Anthony Fauci first elbowed his way to the podium and took the national stage, tiptoeing and reaching up to the microphone, he had an air of authoritarianism about him, a persona of arrogance. When he spoke about separating people by 6 feet and shutting down their lives, motioning for governments and corporations to follow suit, his fearful and controlling ways became evident on display for all the world to see. But not everyone saw this man for these are their words, the abusive deceiver he truly is. And I'm already getting into some, I'm getting into some muddy waters already. So I'm probably going to end up putting this link into the stream for you because they will accuse me of being a science denier or a medical. They will accuse me of being a non-believer or not a true believer because I truly believe that this thing is that's their new religion. Okay, that's what I really believe. So, but I will hop down just a little bit because this goes into some of the scientific jargon and the base. It goes into the GOF, which is the gain of function research, and it basically contradicts the narrative here. It does it very heavily right at the very beginning here. So I just right away, the 5 months for everyone, every 5 months. I mean, what? I don't mean to laugh. I'm trying not to. It's not funny. It is really not. It's more like tragic. A lot of these things that I'm discussing is more like tragic comedies. It is that. So let me see what I can do here because this is pretty heavy here. Hope you guys are doing well out there. So let me just hop down just a bit. I'm going to omit that little section there that gives you the breakdown about his, his contradicting or what he was, Dr. Rand Paul pretty much, charged him with not being honest about the situation. But I'm going to jump down where it says a cognitively impaired Joe Biden leaked the information during an Oval Office visit with Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. When asked about the CV mocktail boost, Biden said, quote, "The question raised is should it be shorter than 8 months? Should it be as little as 5 months? That's being discussed. I spoke with Dr. Fauci this morning about that," end quote. So there you go. So there, you kind of got the leak right there. There you have it. There's your ticker. Okay. The experimental two jab protocol that has many of Americans, and see, this is getting deep again. It's just the beginning. And a third is rolled out, and a fourth and a fifth are planned for 2022. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little beauty in the in the link for you guys. Because there's like, because it gets a little bit more sinister, and their words, as well. So I'm just going to put that in there for you guys. You guys can chew on that where available. Some people are under the impression that this can all be over if we just surrender. It's just yeah. So there you go. Now you got your but I think global research has some great things, and that's just one little avenue that I went into. But of course, you can jump on it yourself. There's tons of other things there. And I am going to be wrapping this up shortly. And I want to say salute to everybody in the stream. And I will start from the top. Nick Smith, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it. White Horse Theology, a.k.a. Killer Whale Channels. Thank you so much, Killer Whale Channels, for coming in. Jermaine G, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Sorry, I have a little device here that I'm playing around with. And DJ Vision Barnett, thank you so much for joining us from work. And Anarchy Television, thank you so much for coming in. And Right Winged Angel, it's nice of you to come in. I appreciate it. And let's Risen Abilities here. Positively Penny and Derek C. Williams. Hope you're doing well out there. And Zero the Infinite. And King Bluto, I forgot. This is also known as, it's Chrysler. Thank you so much, Chrysler, for coming in. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming in. I really do. It's been a long time. Hope you're doing well. And missing anybody here? If you're over on Twitch, thank you for hanging out over there. Todd Baker, thank you so much for coming in. And let me read the comment from Derek C. Williams. I might work my way back on some of the comments, but because I did put a link out there, because I thought maybe you guys might have something that you want to make a comment about the Lil Nas X and the Lil Nas X's of the world, or either, just you want to talk about puppetry or some type of enslavement, or there you go. Industry puppets are, I think Prince referred to himself as that at one point. I think, there were some things going on there. So let me read a couple of comments here. Derek C. Williams says, there's a pill that will be added to, no way, by paid subscription forthcoming. Really? That's interesting. It says paid subscriptions. So are they streaming on all platforms? LOL. Hello, Todd Baker. And Zero the Infinite says, surrender or comply. So you guys are always, like I said, I said this a few shows ago. I said, if this show were to end right now, I think you guys would be absolutely fine. Not to say that you need me to, you need to be fortified by me, but I'm just saying, you guys can hold your own, yeah. And I say that, and I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm sure about that. And, Derek C. Williams, he said Prince wrote slave on his cheek. Yes, he did. And, the thing about it is I found that Prince talked a lot about a lot of things that are going on. Like he talked about, you guys have brought up this word before, and it's dealing with, I guess, the weather influences, or the climate changing. I think you know what I'm on about with that. So yeah, he talked about a lot of things before he perished. So it just kind of makes me think about anybody that's kind of spoken out about things. They seemed like they were so untimely in their expiration. So just saying, just saying. All right. So once again, I appreciate you guys so much for coming on. And I don't know, maybe we will do like we'll have an all male panel or something to come up. But I think that would actually be quite interesting to hear about, to hear from you guys about the things that you see and what you think the influences are. Or do you think we're all exaggerating, or do you think we're quacks, or we're overreacting, or or just don't call us racist. Whatever you do, don't call us racist. All right, so I'm going to take one more little break, and I will be right back, and we will be getting out of here. All right. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I do have another comment from Derek C. Williams, who says, there is a video on YouTube where Prince talked about 2001 and the bombings and talked with Tavis Smiley about the sea trails. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I don't think I've seen it like in its entirety. I think maybe I've seen like a clip or something, clip or two. And but I'll certainly look it up for sure. But I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. And so I will say I'm trying not to go into the screen so much anymore, but I finally got got some vision correction going on there. So it's like life is a lot more stable than it was some weeks ago. But I appreciate you guys for your patience and all. And Todd Baker said that was fast. Todd Baker, I don't know, when did you come in? Like, you can always watch this in a replay. I think you can watch it you'll probably be able to watch it in replay within 12 hours or so. I think maybe I forgot how long it takes to get things out, but I'm sure you'll be able to do that soon. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and I will see you guys around. Have a great rest of your holiday weekend, and I appreciate you guys so much for burning some minutes here. All right. Well, I will see you guys around, and have a great rest of your weekend. Hang on a second. Just as soon as I say that, I get something. Okay, so that was not for me. All right. Thank you, guys.